Let me at least expose the carotid so you can see that. Alright, well, we're going to see some stuff. Okay, starting with the neck, you have the larynx. That's this big bulbous part. Don't miss that. And then leading from that, you can see the trachea. And the trachea is pretty cool because you can see those cartilage rings. See how the trachea is? Isn't that great? I'm poking it. Sitting right on top of the trachea is the thyroid gland. Let's see if we can get, oh, here we are. Here's the thyroid gland right here. That sits right on top. Now the carotid artery is the one that you take your pulse with, I hope. Right, and there's one on this side too, but it's not as, I didn't expose it, I exposed this one. The jugulars might have the internal jugular right here. What the heck, might as well take the time to do it. Now usually they show arteries and veins because they've injected them with dye, but on this field pig here, you can't go with dye. You're just gonna have to go with position. The carotid artery looks kind of pinkish, but the internal jugular doesn't look very pink at all. Yeah. Okay, well, the heart, of course. Here's the thymus gland. It sits on top of the heart. They kind of. Shane, you're being recorded. Do you want to be recorded? Do you want people to hear what you have? Okay. Here's the thymus. It's kind of cottage cheesy. Sits right on the heart. That's not a bad look at that. Okay, well, the heart. And this is the right ventricle, so that must be the pulmonary artery coming out right there. So always know that the pulmonary artery is the first one that you see. Okay. Now the aorta is coming out of the left ventricle. And so we have to look, take a sniff. Poor Danya, she has to bear with us here. Your sensitive nature. Okay. The aorta is coming up from the back. That's why it's a little harder to see. And let's get it to where you can. Okay, here. Sorry, let me do a little bit of. There we go. So now look, the aorta comes up on the back side. It's this right here, I'm poking at it. So pulmonary artery is easier to put a pin in actually. And then the aorta is in the back. Lungs, okay. That's easy. Diaphragm, that's easy. Big muscular diaphragm. Be a good singer. And then the liver, of course. And underneath the liver is the gallbladder. Let's make sure, sorry, I gotta get my big head in the way for a second so I can make sure I'm pointing to you. Okay, here's gallbladder, kind of disconnected and hanging out. There it is. Okay. Usually it's green, but liver gunk got kind of spilled out. Alright, now over here on your right, big stomach. And see, wouldn't it be nice to have about 5 hands at this point? So here's big stomach. Now the spleen doesn't look like the frog spleen. It looks like a strap. Forceps nurse. Thank you. This looks like this strap-shaped thing right here. But we didn't emphasize this on the frog, and we are going to emphasize it on the fetal pig. And that's this part, and this part is the pancreas. The reason why it's important to know the pancreas is because there's an incredible amount of pancreatic cancer going on right now. A good idea to know where it is. It looks kind of cottage cheesy. Now, the stomach leads into the small intestine, and you can see mesentery holding small intestine. There we go. Mesentery. There we go. That webbing in between. And the small intestine leads to the large, and unlike ours, which kind of goes up and around, this coils. See, so it's coiled. And the large intestine terminates at the rectum. That's nice on this pig. Good job. Way to go, pig.
Is it a
large intestine, which terminates at the rectum. When it's on film. Okay. Now, kidneys here and kidneys here. Big old kidneys. Well, let's see how well they did. They didn't expose too much. I'm going to use this one because I can see that we got a good look at a renal artery and vein on this. And if I puncture anything, don't barf.
Done yet.
That's all I need. I just gave that as a mental suggestion. Now you'll start feeling nauseated. Only because I suggested it. Okay. Now what I'm doing is I'm exposing the center, which is where the pelvis of the kidney is, and where the blood vessels go in. And there's 2 blood vessels. And what we would really like is we would really like for you to see red and blue. But I don't really think I see red and blue very well. But your renal artery and vein go here. Unfortunately, we're not seeing red and blue. But if it was red, it would be the artery, and if it was blue, it would be the vein. Of course, you know that they really aren't red and blue. But, so if you looked at a real person, it wouldn't be that. Alright, but now you can see those blood vessels going into the kidney, right here. And that's how the blood gets filtered. I'm holding it open for you. Unfortunately, I can't show you red and blue very well. Ooh, very nice. That's what we needed. A little bit of light on the subject. Alright, so here we go. But it still didn't show any color, so we were out of luck. Sorry, gang. On the test, if I show that to you, I'll try to find one that's got some red and blue. Do you see any hint of color whatsoever? As we look at the renal arteries and veins. This one here, I don't know, looks to me kind of, it's hard to say. Oh well, nonetheless. Anyway, coming out of the kidney is a rather broad tube. Really can't miss that one. So let me just open up just a bit. And that's the ureter. So this tube here is the ureter. And it goes, ooh, don't want to get too rough. it goes all the way. It goes all the way down to here, which is the urinary bladder. And the urinary bladder, would you notice, is sitting right between the two umbilical arteries. 1 and 2. Now the umbilical vein got cut, but we can show you where the nub of it is. Maybe. And then again, I guess we cannot. Here's the other part of it. The umbilical vein. So they cut that umbilical vein right up against the umbilical cord, and that's something. Okay, well that's umbilical vein. Okay, now you say, well, now how do you know it's a female? Well, there's a couple of ways actually. She has a genital papilla over here. Unfortunately, you can't see that because that was cut. But once you open up, you can see her little ovary. And her little ovary is right here at my probe. This right here. Let me get my tube. Alright, here's where the little ovary is. And let's see if we can see it better on this side. Let's see. Not much better, really. Here it is over here on this side. My probe is probing into the little ovary.